Hey folks, I'm best-selling author of The Power Zero, David McKnight. In today's video, you'll see part one of my interview with financial advisor Chris Martens, in which we discuss Dave Ramsey's motivations for preaching an 8% distribution rate and how it may be devastating to your retirement plan.
You've got Dave Ramsey talking about an 8% distribution rule for retirees and pre-retirees. We got to kind of go down this rabbit hole a little bit, David, for those aren't familiar. But what's the danger in using an 8% distribution rule for folks who might be following the advice?
There's a couple of dangers. First, okay, why is Dave Ramsey saying you can draw 8%? It's not because he has some study that he's citing that says that 8% works. He says because if you use a lower rate, you are going to steal hope from a broad swath of Americans. Why does that steal hope? Here's why. If you need, say, $80,000 per year to live in retirement, adjusted every year for inflation, and you have to live by the widely accepted 4% rule, how much money do you have to save by the time you retire by day one of retirement? You got to save $2 million. 4% of $2 million is 80,000. This is a pretty big number for Dave Ramsey's listeners. In fact, if he were to tell his people over the airwaves, you've got to have a reasonable hope of being able to retire independent of friends, family, and the federal government, you need to save $2 million by the day one of retirement. Most people are going to be so discouraged by this that they won't even make the first move off of square one towards financial independence. However, if he says, you can sustainably live on 8% withdrawal rates, and you need 80,000 per year, then you only have to save $1 million, only half as much. That's much more realistic for people who are starting at zero. The number is much smaller. Here's a problem with all of that. The first problem is under the 8% distribution rate, people are only saving enough money to be able to accumulate $1 million. So they're not saving enough. Okay, maybe they could be saving more, but they're not, because Dave Ramsey told them they don't need to save $1,000 a month. Maybe they only need to save $500 a month. So it's the first problem. People aren't saving enough. The second problem is when people do hit retirement with that $1 million and they're spending 8% of that $1 million, there's like something on the order of a 65% likelihood that they're going to run out of money far in advance of life expectancy, which means they're going to go broke and have to sort of eke out an existence on, subsisting on Social Security alone. This is what I call the Dave Ramsey circle of poverty. He gets people out of debt by preaching, I think, correct principles of living within your means, helps them build a nest egg. And then once they have that nest egg built, he encourages them to take 8% distributions, which forces them to run out of money and they end up in poverty again. So it's this weird combination of strategies that he's telling people. He's great at getting people out of debt and building a nest egg, but then once they're there, he's giving them crazy, irrational advice on how to spend that money in retirement. And so a lot of people are going to get to financial independence and they're going to spend all the money based on 8% withdrawal rates and run out of money before they die. And that's frankly what most people are afraid of doing, running out of money before they run out of life.
Well, let me ask you another way. Let me ask you this another way. Is there a way to safely take out 8%, right? If Dave Ramsey's saying 8% is fine, is there a way to maybe take out 8%? Is there a different way to do it, right?
Yeah, and yes, there is. And the irony of it is that the only way to really do it is to utilize financial instruments that Dave Ramsey categorically rejects. Okay, so this is how ironic this whole scenario is. To get 8%, like Dave Ramsey tells you, you have to utilize financial tools that are verboten in the Dave Ramsey vocabulary, right? What are we talking about? Well, if you're younger than, say, 50 or so, you can avail yourself of a strategy that utilizes cash value life insurance. Okay, so basically it's a volatility buffer or volatility shield strategy that I outline in my book, The Volatility Shield. And the idea is that if you can save 3 to 5 years worth of living expenses within the cash value of your life insurance, then in the first 10 years of retirement, and this is by day one of retirement, by the way, and then in the first 10 years of retirement, in the year following a down year of the market, you pay for your living expenses out of your cash value life insurance. What that does is it gives your stock market portfolio a chance to recover before you take further distributions. Remember, the reason why you can only take out 4% per year, according to, mainstream financial planning community, is because you have to take that 4% out rain or shine when this market is up or down. When you take it out when it's down, it sort of eats away at the worker dollars that are supposed to be producing that income over the course of retirement. And so 4% is what you are able to sustainably withdraw. And it's because of those down years in the market, particularly in the first 10 years of the market.
Yeah.
If you can allow your stock market portfolio to recover before you take distributions, because you're living out of your cash value life insurance, then all of a sudden your sustainable withdrawal rate starts to skyrocket. It's no longer 4%. I've done hundreds of thousands of Monte Carlo scenarios on this. It can actually go as high as 8%. So by utilizing cash value life insurance, something that Dave Ramsey calls, so he says it 100% of cash value life insurance sucks 100% of the time. Okay. It's a steaming hot pile of garbage. The only people that do it is because they're dupes or they haven't researched it enough. If he were to actually research it enough, he would find that by accumulating 3 to 5 years worth of living expenses in your cash value life insurance, you can actually take 8% sustainable withdrawals. Okay. That's the first way. And it's usually one that I recommend for people that are younger than 50. The one that I recommend for people that are older than 50 is simply using an annuity. And I always tell people, if you don't like annuities, if that's a 4-letter word for you, then you're certainly not going to like Social Security or that company pension that you plan on receiving, but those both operate by the same risk pooling rules and principles that annuities operate by. So annuities allow you to do two things that the stock market approach doesn't allow you to do. And when I say stock market approach, I'm talking about the 4% rule. Build up a huge pile of money and then constrain yourself to a little tiny, 4% distribution rate over retirement. Annuities allow you to do two things. Number one, you can get a guarantee that you'll never run out of money so long as you're on the side of the grass. And the second thing is you can get that same sustainable distribution, safe, sustainable lifetime income for much less money than the 4% rule. Remember, we said, okay, if you want $80,000 per year, you got to spend $2 million. You got to have $2 million saved by day one of retirement. Well, guess what? If you can utilize an annuity, you can get that same $80,000, even adjusted for inflation, for much less money than $2 million, maybe closer to, say, $1.2 million. And guess what? That frees up $800,000 that you can then utilize to do some really interesting things like long-term care, LIRP, cash value life insurance, a discretionary fund to help pay for that trip around the world or repair the hole in the roof, what have you. So it's just, if you could simply open yourself up to utilizing some of these financial tools that, by the way, academia has done, reams and reams of study on and sort of corroborated the mathematical benefits of, all of a sudden you can have a lot more options and spend more money and have some guarantees that money will last as long as you do.
I couldn't help but you probably saw me smiling and laughing a little bit as you're talking, because it's just it's pretty darn ironic. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm talking negatively about anybody, but we do have, we've got Dave Ramsey, who right calls permanent life insurance, cash value life insurance, what he calls it, right? You've got Ken Fisher, who rails against annuities ad nauseum. You've got Susie Orman, who again talks about, buy term and invest the difference. I can't help but go back to another study, right? There's one that came out recently, a very compelling study by Ernst & Young. And, I have it up on another screen here, but, they talked about, I think it was about 4 or 5 different methodologies or scenarios, right? And one was invest only, right? Just straight up investing in markets and the probability of success. The second one was term life plus investments, buy term and invest the difference, right? One was permanent life insurance plus investments. One was a certain type of annuity plus investments plus insurance. And the last one was permanent life insurance, annuities plus investments. And they looked at different scenarios for a 25-year-old couple, a 35 and a 45-year-old couple. And Dave, you probably know the findings of the study, but what were the results and what was the best combination? What yielded the best probability of success?
Yeah, so if memory serves, and by the way, people should recognize that it's not about, and Tom Hegna talks about this all the time, it's not about assets and retirement, it's about income. It's about what sort of income your assets can produce. Um, and so what the study was really measuring was what combination of alternatives will give you the most sustainable income in retirement. And surprisingly, this study really surprised a lot of people. The combination of alternatives that gave the most sustainable income and even actually passed the most money on to heirs was 30% of your retirement savings going into cash value life insurance. By the way, if you look at the footnote, why was cash value life insurance so important? Because they were using the volatility buffer concept. In a year following a down year in the market, they were paying for living expenses out of the cash value life insurance, allowing those stock market assets an opportunity to recover before taking further distributions. And so that's why that was so important. So 30% of cash value life insurance, 30% into annuities, and then the balance going into stock market portfolio. And so this is why I tell people all the time, especially those that are younger, put 30% of your retirement savings, money that you would otherwise earmark towards retirement, into cash value life insurance. And what you'll find is even though less money is now going towards your 401k, you'll have a lower balance in retirement in that 401k. You'll be able to take a larger sustainable distribution in retirement, as high as 8%. So let's say instead of accumulating $2 million because you're putting money into the cash value life insurance, you're now only accumulating, say, $1.3 million. Well, guess what? If you can now take 8% on the $1.3 million versus 4% on the $2 million, you're still going to have more money in the end. You're still going to be able to take more income. And so this was a really eye-opening study for a lot of people, and it really confirmed, from a mainstream third-party source, what all of the people in academia have been saying for the last 3 decades, and that's that cash value life insurance and annuities can help maximize income at a period in your life when it matters most, and that's when you're retired. Okay, folks, that was part 1 of my interview with financial advisor Chris Martens. In the next 10 years, I'm looking to put 1 million Americans on the road to the 0% tax bracket. If you would like some help implementing a balanced, comprehensive approach to tax-free retirement that shields you from the impact of higher taxes down the road, head on over to davemcknight.com and click on the Connect with an Advisor button. I'm happy to refer you to an advisor in the Power Zero network that has been trained, vetted, and qualified personally by me. If you're a financial professional and want to learn how to become a certified Power Zero advisor, head over to powerzero.com and opt into my free video series. And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them into the comment section below. I'll respond to every single one of them personally. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the bell so you never miss a video. This is David McKnight. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.